Hi, my name is Seti and welcome to the Google Learning Webinars for Singapore. In this webinar, we will be going over a number of different applications and we'll be looking at how we can use these within our classrooms or within our larger work setting and really boost our productivity. Now, my name is Seti. I'm a trainer with Apps Events and I'll be presenting this webinar. Now, we are going to be using a combination of screencasting, which means that you will be seeing my screen, and then I will try and walk you through those steps. Now, in addition to that, because of the format, it's a long form webinar format, we also have a chat. Now, if you do see something or you have any questions that are not being answered during the presentation, make sure that you jump into that chat room and that you ask your questions there. Myself and a number of other members of the Apps Events team will be in the chat room answering questions and really trying to help you out. So if you do see anything or if you have any questions, jump in the chat and we will be there to help you. Now, everything I'll show you in today's webinar is also possible on Chromebooks. So I'm not using any specific hardware or anything else, and everything shown works on your Chromebook. As a matter of fact, the presentation you see behind me is being controlled by a Chromebook as well. Now, as I go through these slides, we are going to dive into the content, and today's content is all about productivity. Now, the title of today's webinar is Be More Productive and Let G Suite Do All the Heavy Lifting. Now, the reason I've chosen that title is because there are so many little tools available to us within G Suite that we can really make sure that our productivity gets boosted and we're not wasting any time. So without waiting any longer, let's just jump into our slideshow and we'll start with the first big topic, and that is your email. Now, every day we are receiving dozens, if not hundreds of email. Now, email has a number of built-in features, and these features will help you to speed up your workflow. So first things first, let's open up our Gmail. Now, I have a demo Gmail account here ready to go, and as you can see, there are 5 emails there that have been sent to me. Now, the bottom 3, these are just welcome emails from Google, but we'll do something with that later. And then the top 2 are emails that I've sent from a different account to this account. Now, you can see the one here at the top. As I open this email, it's in a different language. So you can see this email is written in Dutch and it says, "Hallo, deze e-mail is in het Nederlands geschreven." And because we are working often in international settings or with parents that may have different languages at home, Gmail has a built-in translation function, and that is what I want to show you today. So we have our email open right here. So let's go ahead and have this email translated. Now, the first thing you have to do is open up your email, and so we are now in our email. I'm going to go to the 3 dots on the right-hand side of the email. So we're looking for these 3 dots. Now, you'll see it says more options, and these are options that apply just to this email, not to my entire inbox. And so I'm going to click on these 3 dots. And then as I scroll down, one of the options there will be to translate that message. Now, as I click on translate message, an additional box opens up at the top. It automatically detects the source language and then it switches it to English. Now, it doesn't have to do this. You can choose any of the languages from your drop-down menu. Now, you may be wondering, why did it translate everything into English? Well, that's because my Gmail is set to English. Now, if you are not using English or on a day-to-day basis you are using a different language, you can always go into your Gmail settings and then change your default language. In order to do that, you go to the top right corner where you see this cogwheel, and then you click on that cogwheel. Next, you're going to ask to see all the settings, and the first thing that pops up is your general settings. Now, the first option within this general settings is the language. Now, you can see all the email is displayed in this language, but you can change that. So you can change this into any language you would like to use. And that is my first big tip for Gmail. Now, translating an email is very useful, but say that you're getting so many emails that you're actually overwhelmed with all the incoming messages and all the incoming questions. Well, Gmail has a built-in snooze functionality. Now, that snooze functionality allows you to take an email that has come in and then simply hide it away and send it back to you at a later time. Now, this is very useful when you're getting an email on Saturday and you know you don't have to action that until Monday. However, not bouncing it back could mean that you're forgetting all about that email. So in order to snooze, you're going to find an email, and I have an email here. It says important message for Monday. Now, I don't want this to be actioned right now. I want this to be bounced back to me later today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over this email and then navigate to the right-hand side. Where you see that little clock, you will see a snooze option. So let's go ahead and click on snooze. And then we have a number of different options there. We can either snooze it later today, which is the one I will be choosing. We have tomorrow, next week, and weekend. Now you can see these are all set to default timings. Now you can change the default times, but that's more of an advanced trick, and so we're going to look at that in a minute. For now, I'm just going to snooze this to later today. You can get very specific by selecting the specific date and time. So here you can see we can be very specific, but for now I'm going to just select later today. This email has now disappeared from my main inbox, and it will come back into my inbox at that predefined time. If you do need that email before the snooze time, on the left-hand side, you'll see we have inbox, but we also have snoozed. So this email is now in the snoozed messages. It's in my inbox, but in a different section of my inbox. Now, let's change those default snooze times. As you see here, they are set to 6 in the evening, 8, 8, and 8. Now I want this to be 7. I want 7 in the morning and 7 in the evening. Now we cannot change the default settings within Gmail. However, a little advanced trick, open up Google Keep and then we can change them in there. So in a separate tab, I have Google Keep open. You can see the address here, keep.google.com. And within Google Keep, I can change my settings. So let's go to our settings. We're going to select settings yet again. And here you can see we have some reminder defaults. These are set to 8, 1, and 6 in the evening. I'm going to change all these to 7. So I'm going to select 7 in the morning. I'm going to select the afternoon is going to be 12. And then the evening will also be 7. So let's make this 19. We're going to click on save. And then we're going to go back to Gmail. Now, once we're back in Gmail, go ahead and select any of these messages, click on that snooze button, and you will see that the default timings for your snooze button have been changed. And that's because there is a really good integration between all the different applications within G Suite. Now, productivity works both ways. Sometimes you're receiving emails that you'd like to receive later, and sometimes you have emails that you just want to get out of the way, you want to write them today, but they don't have to be sent till later. So let's go ahead and schedule out an email. We're going to create a new email, click on compose. I'm going to just type in a demo account here. So let's just type in my demo account. There we go. And then we're going to give it a subject. And I'm going to say important information for Sunday. Now, it is not Sunday today, so I don't want to bother them with this email today. Maybe they have other things to do. Maybe the email will get lost in the inbox. So let's just type our message. Hello, please follow up on the work sent. That's our email, and we are going to send it at a later time. Now, instead of clicking on send, we're going to find that drop-down arrow. Now, the drop-down arrow allows us to schedule this out, so we're going to go ahead and schedule it out. And then here again, we see a number of default times. These can be selected right from there, or we can select a date and time by ourselves. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send this out, let's say Tuesday at 1 in the afternoon, and then we're going to schedule send this. If you would like to check how many emails you've already scheduled out, well, on the left-hand side, you can find scheduled. When I go in, we can see that this email will be sent to that person. If you want more information, we can open it up and we can see when it will be sent. Now, if we no longer want to send this message, we can always click on cancel send, and then it will not be sent. We go back into our editor and we can change our scheduled date. So let's go ahead and just select a random date. There we go. Now let's go ahead and start typing up a new email, and you'll see that here at the bottom it is very blank. Now, composing a new message here, you'll see I'm missing a signature. Now that's because this is a brand new account. I haven't set anything up yet. Now I do feel that it would look much better if this email had a signature. Now there are two ways you can get to your signature. You can either go to the settings, or right from within the compose window here at the bottom, you can insert a signature. So when I click on that, I can go to Manage Signatures. Now that is just a shortcut into my settings. So if you were to use these settings, you click on Settings, and then within the General tab, you scroll all the way down until you see Signatures. Now here we can now create a new signature. So let's go ahead and create one together. We're going to name this Work Signature. There we go, Create. And this is now my work signature. On the right-hand side, I can start setting it up. So let's just add underscores, then my name, and then just type work. Now again, this could be anything you want it to be. You can have your email address here, you can have your work address, anything you feel is appropriate to be sent with your email whenever you send an email will be attached when you have this signature. You could even have some disclaimers or information about confidentiality in that signature. Now once you're ready with this, okay, all good to go, you can scroll all the way down and then click on Save Changes. Now many G Suite apps autosave. However, when you're in settings, it's always good to remember to click on Save. So once this has been saved, we can now click on New Message, and we now have a signature available. You can see I can select my work signature. As soon as I click on that, it gets added into the email. Now, we do use our email for multiple things, and sometimes contacting a member of staff is very different from contacting a parent. Say that we send an email to a colleague, well then having our phone number in there may not be an issue. When we contact a parent, maybe we're using a different phone number, or we don't want to overwhelm them with too much information. Well, you can create multiple signatures. Again, you can either click here and click on Manage Signatures, or let's do that together now. We can go to Settings, see all settings, and then scroll down until we see our signatures. Here I can now create a new one, and this will be a private signature. Let's create it. You can see my work signature is here, and this is my private signature. I'm just going to type, woohoo, this is private. I'm going to scroll down and click Save. And we now have two signatures available whenever we're writing an email. So let's go ahead and click on Compose, select our signatures. We can have a private signature, woohoo, this is private, or we can have a work signature, and it says work. Now you can add the signatures you'd like to use. Maybe you have some signatures where you would like to add some images. Maybe you have some signatures where you would like to add some links. Well, that is possible as well. So let's just jump back into our Manage Signatures. We're going to minimize this screen, and I'm going to add an image into my private signature. So let's go ahead and click on this image, and we're going to do a quick little upload. So let's go ahead and select a file, and there we go. I'm uploading that picture to the servers, and then I get to crop my picture. I'm uploading that picture, it gets inserted into my signature, and as you can see here, I can now either have the original size, large, medium, or small. I'm going to make it a small image, and then simply save my signature. So let's go ahead and click on Save. When I select my private signature, that image that I've uploaded appears right there with the signature. This is great for company logos, or maybe even your own logos, and you can just add them right there. If you have any badges or any certificates you'd like to talk about, well, you can put them in your signature as well. You can also link out, and again, you go into your Manage, and then you can link out any of the words. So this word private, by simply clicking on hyperlink, I can link it out to either a web address or an email address. So if you have an email address or you have a website, you can link out to that website within your signature. Now looking at my inbox, there's a couple of things that you will notice, and the first one is that there are a number of stars here. Now let's say that this is an important message. Well, I can click on that star and it now highlights it. Now what that means is that this email will get a shortcut within my starred menu. So here on the left, you'll see I have a starred menu, and only my starred messages show up. Now I can also untick this star, and then the next time I go to starred, there will not be a message there because I haven't starred any messages. This is a great way of making sure that you're following up on emails that are important, and having that star really highlights that email visually so you know that you have to action something. Now, in addition to starring, you can also label your emails. Now, to use labels, you will have to use the select tool. So we're going to select this email. So we're going to select these three emails, and then we're going to add a label to these three. Now at the top, you'll see an icon, and this icon here says labels. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we can either select the default labels or we can create a new label. I'm going to create a new label. I'm going to title this Google Emails. We're not going to nest it because we don't have a hierarchy or a structure yet. So we're just going to leave it as it is and click on Create. Now, all the emails that I had selected in my inbox, they all have this Google email sign. That's the label. Now, these 3 emails that I've just selected and attached the label to, you can see they have this label right here. But in addition to that, on the left-hand side, you'll also see that there is now a Google Emails label. When I click on that, I only see the messages with that label attached to it. I can even make it more visual by clicking on the 3 dots next to my label and then selecting a label color. I'm going to go with this beautiful green, and then you will see that all my Google emails will be labeled with a green label. Now, labels are how you can really organize your email. Maybe you have a separate email for your management team, a different email for student emails, another email label for your leadership team. So here you can set them up. In addition to that, Google can automatically assign labels. So let's just quickly undo these 3 labels. We're going to go to the label and I'm going to untick it. So I don't want them to have a label because what I want to demonstrate now is the automatic labeling. And in order for that, we're going to use something called a filter. Now, the filters can be found in your settings. So let's go ahead and dive into our setting. And we're going to go to all settings. Then at the top, you have filters and blocked addresses. We're going to set up a filter, create a new filter. So I'm going to say these have the words Seti, which is my name, and I'm going to automatically create a filter with everything that has my name in it. So let's go ahead and click on filter. And what do I want to do with this filter? Well, there's a number of things here. You can either skip the inbox, mark that email as read, you can star it, which is what we just discussed, or you can apply a label. Now, I absolutely love the automatically applying of labels because you can select the email addresses from which an email is sent and then using that apply the correct label. For example, leadership. When you have the email address of the head of school or your phase leader, they send you an email and it automatically applies a label with that term SLT. So let's go ahead and apply a label. And we can choose a label. I don't have a label for my name yet, so let's create a new label. I'm just going to type my name there and I'm going to create. Once I've done that, I have one more box that I can tick. Now this box is going to go through all your older messages and also label those. So here you can see also apply filter to 8 matching conversations. That means it's found 8 other messages that also contain this name. So let's go ahead and click on that and then create our filter. It's going to go back through everything, and then in my inbox here, in my inbox you will see that that email there has my name attached to it. Now you'll also see that this Gmail team has my name attached to it, and that's because when I open it, within that email there is a mention of my name. And there you go, the label has automatically been applied to all the emails that have this term. Now labels are a big part of your productivity suite. Now, in addition to the labels, which you can color code, and the star here on the left-hand side, you have a number of different stars that you can use. Now, in order to get access to those, we're going to have to go back into our settings. So let's go ahead and open up our settings, and then we're going to scroll all the way down to where it says stars. Now, here you can see there are stars. At the moment, I only have 1 in use. Now, I can use any of these stars noted here at the bottom, and I can simply drag them up and add them to my collection. So let's just add important and check, and then scroll down and click on save. You can see I still have my star here, but now when I click on that star multiple times, it is going to switch between the different options. That means that you can now add even more visual differentiation to your email inbox and really highlight those emails that need to be actioned first. Now, as you can see here, I have 4 emails and 2 of those emails are unread messages. Now, what I can do is I can actually use the search box at the top of my Gmail to search through all my emails and find those that are unread. Now, how do I do that? Well, I go to the top and I type in is : and I'm going to type unread. So what it's going to search for is all the emails that are unread. This is great when you have hundreds of emails and you just want to go through all the unread messages and either remove them, delete them, action it, or archive them. Now you can see here I have an email from Google, security alert. I've already checked into this, so I can now choose to delete that. Now, once I delete it, the email will be gone. An alternative way of getting rid of this email and taking it out of your inbox is to simply click on archive. Now, when you archive that email, it disappears from the main inbox, but it's still searchable and you can still find it by scrolling down on the side and selecting all mail. So all mail includes drafts, archived messages, and your inbox. However, if you've deleted an email, using the search at the top will not surface that email. Next, we'll be looking at another time saver that has come into Gmail, and that is templates. Now, templates are a great way of getting the biggest bulk of your information for emails all set up, ready to go, and then just simply tweak it where necessary. This is great for student newsletters or emails that have to be sent to parents. I'm thinking parent consultations or upcoming special days. Now, using these templates will not only ensure that there is consistency whenever communicating with parents or with staff, but it's also going to help you to really think about what needs to go into an email. So all the information necessary can be put into a template, and then you simply tweak and change that template. Now, before we can start using templates, we do have to activate this. Now, in order to activate it, let's open up our settings window again. So in the top right corner, let's click on that cogwheel again, and then we're going to go to See All Settings. Now, the templates is under the sub-tab, and that is under the Advanced tab. So make sure that you find Advanced, and then we're going to click on Advanced. Once here, you'll see that one of the options that can be enabled is the template option. Now, as long as you have this disabled, you will not be able to save your templates. Let's go ahead and enable this right now. We're going to click on Enable, and then as with every option, we have to make sure that we click on Save Changes. Once you've saved those changes, everything will reload. You go back to your inbox, and we can now start creating our first template. So let's do that right now. I'm going to open up a blank email, and I'm going to start typing this up as a template. So let's just use the format, good morning. This is an example of an email template. Please fill out your name, your class, and more info. There we go. Now we have our template all set up, and let's say that we've spent a little bit more time really crafting this email and making sure that all the information is in there and everything looks great. We can now save it into our Gmail. So let's go to those three dots in the bottom right corner, and you see we have a new templates menu. Now, when we hover over this, it opens up a side menu and we can save our draft as a template. Now, let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to save it as a new template. We're going to title this Template Demo. Now, again, this could be anything you want. It could be a template for trips, a template for consultations, a template for inviting parents into school. So let's go ahead and save that. And we're now done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to delete this draft, discard. There we go. This email no longer exists, and we're going to start all over again. So let's go ahead and click on Compose. We have a blank new message. And instead of manually typing everything out, we're going to go to those three dots, hover over the template menu, and you see Template Demo is an option right now. So we're going to click on that, and it just pre-populates that email. This is a huge time saver, and I really recommend that you share this with your colleagues. And then the next few things we'll be looking at, you can see on the slideshow in front of you. First of all, we're going to be looking at how you can set up an autoresponder. Now, an autoresponder is incredibly useful when you are going on a holiday, or maybe you want to set it up during the weekends, and that way people will get an automatic reply whenever they email you. This could be a message stating that you will get back to them starting Monday to Friday, or maybe you inform them of the days that you are not going to be checking your emails. And this is not only good for you to set up to make sure that everyone is informed, but it also helps the other person to know exactly when they can expect a response. Once we've set up the autoresponder, we'll be adding an additional email address. This is great when you have multiple emails that you'd like to manage from a single inbox. It also allows you to send emails as different people. So in other words, you don't have to switch from account to account to account. Simply select the correct email address. And then there's a number of advanced little things that I'd like you to have a look at. First of all, undo send. Yes, sometimes we send emails and sometimes that email has a typo that we've overlooked, or maybe we shouldn't have sent it in the first place. Well, Gmail allows us to set up an undo send. That means that we have a set amount of time that we can always call our messages back. And I'm going to show you where you can set this up. The second advanced trick will be the reading pane. Now, Gmail has the beautiful overview of the inbox, but what you can do is you can actually change this to really match your productivity. Now, we all have different devices and we use various screens, and sometimes when you use a larger display, it just makes sense to change the layout of how you read your emails and how you access that information. And then once we've done that, we'll be moving on to the integration with Calendar, and I'm going to show you how you can take any email that you've received and then just send it to your calendar as an event. So let's dive straight into it, and let's start with the first on the list. I am in my inbox now and I'm going to go into my settings menu. Now the first thing you'll do is click on that cogwheel. Once we've clicked on that, we are going to click on See All Settings. Now here we have all the settings available, including that autoresponder. Now here we're going to scroll down until we find the autoresponder option. So here you can see the out of office auto reply. Now this is where we're going to set it up. Now this will send an automatic reply as soon as you switch this on. So think carefully about the dates that you're going to be selecting, the times, and then you can switch this on. So let's do that right now. We're going to turn this on. And then we have to set up the autoresponder. So we have to give it the first day that this starts working and then the last day. So here we have our first day, the 29th of September. We're going to add a last day. Let's select tomorrow. So we're going to set that to the following day. And then the subject will be the subject that's attached to the email that is automatically sent out. So the subject will be holiday. And then we can add our email. Now this is just like any other email. You can add your text formatting, you can add links, information, images. We're just going to say, I am currently on a holiday back the 1st of October. And there we go. We can add as much information to this as we want. I'm going to leave it at this for now, and we're going to move on to the next one. Now here it does add 2 additional tick boxes that we can now select. The first one, only send a response to contacts. That means that it's only going to respond to people that have already been added to your contact list. I don't use this that much because we often get emails from people that haven't been added to our contact list, and therefore I'm not going to use that one. Or you can limit it to within your domain. So if you're a school, then you can also limit the response to just people from inside the school. In other words, your colleagues, your students. I'm going to leave these unticked for now, but what I do have to do is I have to click on Save Settings, because whenever we're changing a setting, we have to save that. Now at the top, you can see there is an additional banner, and that's just a notification for myself to say that we are currently out of office. That means that anyone who sends us an email right now will receive that message. So let's go ahead and have a look at what that looks like to the receiver. I'm now inside one of my demo student accounts, and I'm going to send a message to that teacher for whom we've just set up the autoresponder. So let's go ahead and add that teacher to the top. There we go. We're going to type in teacher and then the address. We're going to send the subject, testing, and I'm going to just say testing the responder. I'm going to click on send, and this message is now on its way to that teacher. That teacher's autoresponder is going to receive that message and then send me an automated reply because the autoresponder has been turned on. So let's just wait for that reply to arrive. And there we go. You can see here at the top, holiday, and it sends me that message back. I can open this and you will see I am currently on a holiday back the 1st of October. Now, again, I would say craft this email in a different way. Don't just say I'm out, but this is an incredibly useful feature for when you are on a holiday or when you're away for the weekend and you just want to inform everyone that you will get back to their message and you will reply to them, but you are currently not available. Now let's jump back into that teacher's account and you will see that that teacher has still received that email. In other words, they can action it sooner if they choose to do so. I can open this message here and I can respond even when the out of office responder is still turned on. At the top, we can end it immediately, or we can dive into our settings and adjust it. So let's say that your holiday lasts a little bit longer than planned. Well, you can always change it right there and then just tweak that message. Now, the second thing we'll be looking at is adding another email account. So Gmail allows us to send emails as multiple accounts. This is my teacher02 demo account, and I would like to add my 01 account as well. So let's go ahead and open up our settings. Now we can click on See All Settings. We're now in the main settings, the General tab. But in order to add an account, we have to go to another tab, the Accounts tab. Once you're here, you can add another email address. So let's do that right now. You can see here there's a reminder of send email as teacher2. I'm going to add another email address. We're going to add teacher1, and then we're going to add that email address. So we're going to add this email address that I would like to use. And there we go. We can leave this ticked as treat as an alias. That means that we will be using this as an alias of the first one, and we can click on Next Steps. Now, before we can send email, we do have to verify that we are owner of that email address. So let's go ahead and send a verification to that email address. There we go. We now have to open up that account. Here we are in that teacher1 account, and you can see there is a confirmation to allow teacher2 to send emails as teacher1. We're going to click this open and we have a confirmation code right there. I can copy that confirmation code, go back into the other account, and then I simply verify that right here. So let's paste that code in and click on Verify. Everything is set up now, and starting from this moment, I can start emailing as the other account as well. So let's go ahead and demonstrate what that will look like. We're going to open up our account. And as you can see here within settings, everything is set up now. I can email as both the teacher1 and teacher2 accounts. I have access to both accounts and I can use both whenever I compose a new email. So let's do that right now. We're going to click on Compose. And then here I can start composing my message. I can send this to the students. So let's just send that to our demo students. And then we're going to add a subject. Testing accounts. And then at the top, we can select who this is going to be sent from. So here currently it is set to teacher2, but I can now select teacher1 as the other person. Let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to send this email. And as you can see here in our demo student account, our student is going to receive an email from that teacher. And there we go. You can clearly see the difference. This email was sent by teacher2. And then this one is sent by teacher1 middle school. So right here, you can see that everything is working just fine. Let's say that our student now responds to this email. Well, it will be sent to that teacher1 account. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. There we go. The email is sent back. Now the student has responded to that teacher1 account. And so the email will end up in the teacher1 inbox. Now the teacher2 account will not have access to this because that was not set up yet. So let's go back into teacher1. As you can see here, they do not have access to that email. However, teacher1, the original account, sees the student's response right there. Now in order to have access to both in one account, we have to change some additional settings. So let's go back to our teacher1 account and let's just jump back into our account settings. Settings, accounts, and then here you can see it says send mail as, but we can also check email from other accounts. So in order to be able to receive that email as well as send from that email address, we have to add an email account to this part of the settings as well. Once this is all set up, you will receive the email no matter which account it is sent to. And that brings us to undo send. Now undo send is very easy to set up. Same place as always, jump into your settings and then simply go to General. Now in the General tab, you will find that the fourth option there is Undo Send. Now here it is currently set to 5 seconds, but I can change this to 10, 20 or 30 seconds. That's the duration that Gmail will hold on to this message before it is sent. So let's say that it's set to 5 seconds, well then Gmail holds on to it for 5 seconds, then sends it out. If I change this to 10 seconds, then my emails won't go out for the following 10 seconds. That does give me 10 seconds to call that email back. So let's just change that to 10 seconds, scroll all the way down and save our settings. There we go. We're now going to compose a new message and I'm going to send it to the student account. There we go. And then the subject will be uh-oh, and I'm going to just send a blank email. We're going to click on send, and immediately in the bottom left corner you'll see that I can undo this. Now I can undo this for 10 seconds. I've just clicked on undo and we open up that compose window again. This does mean that the student never received the original message. So I can change it. I can now type hello, click on send again, and once again those 10 seconds will start running. You will see the option to call your message back. As soon as that option disappears, which is currently set to 10 seconds, I can no longer recall my email. So you can see the email has now been sent. That means the student will receive it. This is independent of the domain. That means that you can set yours to 5 seconds. Maybe a student sets his or hers to 20 seconds. It's a great thing to set up, but it does mean that your emails will have a slight delay, maybe a couple seconds, but that's it. And then the next thing is that reading pane. Now, when we have large displays, it makes sense to change the way we interact with our emails. So let's have a look at my inbox at the moment. It is all set like this, and as soon as I click on an email, it opens up full screen. Now what I would like to have is I would like to have that list of my emails on one side and then read the emails on the other side. Now we can set this up by simply clicking on that cogwheel. Now instead of going into all settings, we're going to scroll down, and then here at the bottom we can select whichever version of this reading pane works best for us. At the moment there is no split. I can change this to right of the inbox. Let's go ahead and activate this. And you can see that now any email I select on the left will open up on the right hand side. This means that if you do have enough real estate on your screen, you can easily go through all your emails and action everything on the right hand side. Maybe you are using a different type of screen and you prefer a vertical layout. Well, that is also possible. Scroll all the way down and then simply select below the inbox. Here you can now see that any email I select at the top can be read at the bottom. This is a personal preference, and obviously you would choose the one that works best for you. I'm going to keep it at no split and then simply close those settings. You can always change this at any time, so if you do have access to a large display, maybe use it, and then as soon as you work on a laptop or a different display, you can change it back. And then finally, we'll be looking at creating a calendar event from an email. Because it's very easy to receive emails where people are inviting you to all different types of activities, and maybe they're inviting you to an event, but nobody has actually set up that event in the calendar. Well, what we can do is we can open up our inbox, and then we can just simply open up that email. Now at the top of that email, you will see those 3 dots, and these will open up more options. So let's go ahead and click on the 3 dots, and then select Create an Event. We're going to create that event right now. And this opens up Calendar. Now it's already going to pre-populate this event with the guest list on the right hand side. So you can see everyone who was included in this email is added as a guest. Your account will be the organizer of this event, and you can add a date and a time. It also takes that subject from the email and it adds it as the name of the event. Once you're happy with everything, you can click on Save and it's added to your calendar. So that integration works really well. And that brings us to the second big productivity app, and that's Google Keep. Now, Google Keep is a great service to keep little notes and maybe some information that you'd like to have easy access to. They have a mobile app, they have a great working web interface, it works on mobile devices, works on Chromebooks. It's a brilliant product to use. Now, it has integration with Gmail, and the way it integrates is by clicking on this sidebar here. So you can see we have the Keep app right there. I can click on that, and it opens up Google Keep. Now Google Keep, it says I have no notes yet. I can either use Android devices, iPhone or iPads, web apps, or the Chrome extension. Now that means that it works like a charm on your Chromebooks. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my first note. So let's go ahead and click on that. And let's just call this a demo note. And I'm going to just add a little note. This is amazing. And we're done. Now that note is there. I did this within Gmail, so that means that maybe you're opening an email, you see something, okay, you make a note about that. Once you're done, you can close this. Now you can also open up a separate tab and navigate to Google Keep. Now once you're on the web interface of Google Keep, you'll see that same note appears right there. Now there are some additional features available on the web app that you will not see on the sidebar. So let's go ahead and click on this note, and let's start by just giving it a nice color. There we go, it looks just like a post-it. Going to go ahead and add some people to this. So maybe we want to action this with another demo account as well. So there we go. This person can also collaborate on this note. Fully collaborative. They can work together. And then just like your Gmail, your Google Keep can have labels. Here on the left hand side, you'll see edit labels. So let's go ahead and create a new label. We'll call this the apps events label. And we're going to click on done. When I'm in this note now, I can go down to those three dots and add a label. Now when I click on add label, what happens? I get my selection of labels and I can add it right there. Click on close and you will see that this note, I collaborate on that note and it has a label. I can click on that label and then find all the apps events labels. Here on the left hand side, you'll also see that label. Now, what I really like about Keep is not only the simplicity, but also how easy it is to turn this into something that you can use to have a very organized and structured day. So when you click on those three dots, we can add a drawing. There we go. It opens up our drawing app. I can simply draw a little picture there, big smiley face, and then go back to my Keep. This drawing has been added to my Keep and I can click on close. You can see we have that drawing down there. Using these drawings will enable you to really organize your Keep and make sure that everything is visually appealing. Now let's say that I wanted to use a slightly highlighted text, or maybe I want to have some bold or italic words. Well, the way we can do that is by using some Unicode. So here I have another website open called the Weird Text Generator, and there are literally dozens of websites just like this. You pop your text on the left, and then you get a number of different options on the right hand side. What you do next is you select the one you like, you Control-C or copy that text and then paste it inside your Google Keep. This is a way of really highlighting text within Google Keep. It's not quite the same as formatting your text with a text editor, but it does allow you to add a little bit of fun to your own personal notes. Next, we'll be looking at using Google Drawings to create our images, and then these images will be added into our Keep Notes. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We're going to open up our Drive, and we're going to create a new Google Drawing. So let's go ahead and click on New, and then Google Drawing. Now, once we have our Google Drawing, we first choose the size of our canvas. So let's go ahead and select the File, and then the Page Setup. Here we're going to select Custom, and maybe we choose for 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. We have a nice little 5 by 5 square, and we're going to insert an image. Let's search the web. Let's see, let's find a forest image and use that image on our 5 by 5 screen. I'm going to just move that to the top, make it a bit bigger, maybe center it nicely, and there we go. We're going to now crop that image. You can crop it all the way to the end of our canvas, and then this way it is neat and tidy in a square shape. I want to add some text on the top, so let's go ahead and add a shape. I'm going to add that box there. We're going to change the color of the box, maybe make it white and transparent, so we don't need a line. Let's make it transparent. The fill will be a soft gray fill, but we're going to go to custom. That way we can add a bit of transparency to this. So let's just bring that transparency up. Nice, I quite like that. And we're going to add our text on top. Let's add big white letters. Let's just type in maths. So we're going to just big white letters. There we go. We're going to make it a little bit bigger and then change the font to something maybe a bit more enjoyable. Let's see. Let's go for the Georgia font, and then we select 35. Center everything, and here we go. I have my box, I have maths, and everything is centered neatly, and everything is centered. Now, say that you want to use this as your header for one of your notes or one of your checklists. Well, what you're going to do next is you're going to title this file and then click on File, Download, PNG. Now, this PNG file that is being downloaded, well, that can be uploaded into your Google Keep. So as this file downloads, we're going to open up our Google Keep and make a new note. Now, before I start typing, I'm actually going to select the image functionality and select that image that I've just downloaded. There we go. This image is being uploaded to my Google Keep. We're going to add a title, Maths To-Do List, and then we're going to make a note. I need to prep my lesson and then prep the materials. All done. We can turn this into a tick box. So what we're going to do next is click on those three dots and change it to show the tick boxes. There we go. Prep lessons, prep materials. We can even add multiple items. Let's go ahead and click on close. And now, because we've uploaded an image quickly made in Google Drawings, you will see that we have maths to-do list with some different items on our to-do list. We can tick these off, and then it simply strikes through it so that we can see that we've completed this action. We can open our note again, maybe give it a background color so it blends in a bit more with that image. There we go. And our maths is done. Now, because you've already made it once, very easy, simply select a different image. Let's replace that image with another web image, maybe a different forest. There we go. We're going to select this one this time and replace. And now we're going to select English as our text. File, download, PNG. We have our second image. Well, we can make our second note. So let's go ahead and make a new note with an image. Select image. Let's do the same thing again. Three dots, show tick boxes. Once we've shown the tick boxes, we can start typing our list out. So here you can see we have our list. First item, prep lesson, prep homework, and then click on close. So we now have maths, English, and so on and so forth. You can create however many you want, and then this really helps you to have a quick access to all the different checklists and all the different information that you need to have quick access to. If you have the mobile app installed on your mobile device, then you also have access to this. Now, I find this a great productivity hack. I've used this for parent consultations where I had the picture of the child with a list of different things I wanted to discuss. I've used this for planning where I've had different subjects, as you can see here, and I've used it for special events as well. Now, creating these images in Google Drawings will take you next to no time. Simply use the search and insert functionality of the images, and then you can just pull them into Google Keep. Now, one thing you will have noticed is that these two each have that label Apps Events, and that is because I'm creating new notes while I'm highlighting the Apps Events label. I need to go to my main page of notes and then create a new note to not have those labels. So let's go back to Apps Events, and as you can see here, I have these labeled. Well, what I want to do is I want to take that label off. So just click on that X there, and it will remove the label. Now, these notes have not disappeared. They are simply over here at the top in my main Notes app. So we have the notes here, and then we have the Apps Events labeled one on the right-hand side. And then one final thing that Google Keep does really well, and that is remind you of things. So let's say that this maths lesson and I have to prep my lessons. Well, I need to be reminded of that later today. So hovering over my notes on the left-hand side here, I have a remind button. Let's go ahead and click on that. And you will notice that this is the same style as the snooze button in Gmail. So let's go ahead and select either later today, tomorrow, or next week. We can also select a date or time, or even a place. Now, the place will use your location functionality of either your mobile device, Chromebook, or laptop. So let's go ahead and click on later today. There we go. And you can see that that reminder has been added to this note. So now every device that's logged into this account will be reminded later today at 8 o'clock. And if you remember from Gmail, we can change those default times. Here in the settings, we can go to settings and change those default remind times. Changing them here will also change your snooze times in your Gmail application. And then the final one we'll be looking at today is the Google Tasks app. Now the Google Tasks app is very much a mobile app, but it is fully integrated with Gmail. So let's go ahead and jump into our Gmail. And here on the right hand side, you'll see that keep sign that we've just used. Well, you also have tasks. So let's go ahead and click on tasks. And then tasks opens up that side menu. Now here we can add our own to-do lists and tasks. So let's go ahead and click on get started. And let's add our first task. So what is the first task? Well, the maths lesson that needs to be done. Now, the problem with the maths lesson is there's a lot involved in planning a maths lesson. So let's go ahead and click on that little details button and let's start adding the information. This lesson is about 3D shapes. There we go. That is the bulk of the information. Now, obviously, this will be much more detailed if this was an actual lesson. Which list do you want to add this to? It is currently in My Tasks. I'll tell you more about those lists in a minute. And then also you can add a date or time to remind you of this task and also set a reminder about the due date for this task. So the due date will be the 30th. There we go. We're going to click on OK. Now, in addition to setting tasks, you can give this task some subtasks. So when you're planning a lesson, well, first you're going to have to get your objectives done. And then you're going to have some baseline information. And then you're going to start planning resources. All these subtasks are now part of the main maths lesson task. And so I can click on done. Let's go back. And here you will see that I have this task. As soon as I click on this task, all the subtasks are also completed. However, I can complete them one at a time and they will simply disappear. And this is a great way of keeping track of everything you have to do. Now, if you remember, I talked about different lists of tasks. Well, that's here at the top. These are my tasks, but I can create my own list. So I can have school tasks. I can have club tasks. So let's just go back. Oops. So I can have school tasks. I can create another one, club tasks. And done. Now, as you add tasks to different lists, it's very easy to just go from one to another. So we have our own tasks, we have club tasks, and we have school tasks. Now, all these tasks can be given those subtasks and those reminders, and also can be given that due date. But then there is one feature that I absolutely love about this integration with Gmail, and that is you can send your emails to your tasks. So let's say that this Dutch email is a very important email and it needs following up. I have to follow up next Tuesday. Well, I open up my email and at the top, you can see I have all these options, but this one allows me to add it to my tasks. So let's go ahead and click on that. And this email is now sent into my tasks. There is a link to the actual email. So when I click on that, the email will open up on the left-hand side. You can see I can go into my inbox, click on that. The email will open up on the left-hand side. Very easy to find your emails and the conversation in question. I can click on the details, change the list it belongs to, or add some subtasks. And this is incredibly useful when you're trying to be as productive as possible. On the left-hand side, you have your email, all your communication. On the right-hand side, you have your tasks with subtasks. And then when you click on that Keep button, you have access to Google Keep, where you can just store your ideas, keep your ideas, and keep some information. And those are my 3 favorite productivity apps within the G Suite ecosystem. Now, each of these has a mobile app available, which I highly recommend you download and use because it means that everything can be synced between your various devices. If you open up your Chromebook, start typing up a note, well, before you know it, it'll show up on your mobile device. And the same thing with your tasks. As soon as you start adding tasks into your mobile app, open up your Gmail on your Chromebook, and that tasks sidebar within Gmail has all your tasks and subtasks readily available for you to use and follow up with. Now, once you have the Tasks app installed on your mobile device, you will get access to all the same features that you've seen in that sidebar. Now, we're going to open up our mobile app, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on a mobile device. Now, I'll be using an Android device, but no matter what device you use, this will look very similar. So let's go ahead and open up the application. Right here, you'll see that same welcome screen that we saw in the sidebar in Gmail, and we're going to click on Get Started. And the first screen that opens up on our mobile device is our various lists. So you can see here, I have my tasks open, everything is there, there is a link to that email, and you can see all the subtasks. I can simply tick those tasks on my mobile device and it automatically syncs with the computer. That means that I can also add tasks from mobile. So let's just do a quick mobile upload and let's add that to our tasks. Now on the computer in that sidebar, you will see that that mobile task that I've just typed into my mobile device is visible within that sidebar. This has a great integration, and as long as you're online, this will happen nearly instantly. We can also tap on that menu on the left-hand side, and then this allows us to jump from list to list to list. So if you remember, we have those different lists on that sidebar, well, we can see them within our mobile app as well. And that's the bulk of the Google Tasks app on mobile. Now let's have a look at the Keep app on mobile, and let's see what we can do with Google Keep on the mobile devices. First things first, let's open up the Google Keep app. Now the Google Keep app is open now, and you'll instantly see that we have a complete overview of all the notes that were taken on our devices. This is again syncing seamlessly from device to device, and whatever we change on one will be immediately recognized on the other. Now, one of the benefits of using the Google Keep app is that you have access to those drawing tools. Now here you can see in the bottom left corner, I can tap that draw icon, and this will make drawing much easier, seeing as I have a touch screen. Now, if you're using a Chromebook with a touch sensitive screen, then this will also work really well on your Chromebooks. We can save this application here. We have a number of different tools down the bottom, and then once we're ready, we simply return. There you go, we now have that note added onto our Google Keep collection, and we can immediately access it on a computer. Now, another thing we can do with the Google Keep app, and I really use it a lot, is taking a photograph and then using that as your note. And what I can do is, as soon as I tap that, I get the option to take a photograph. This will activate the camera, you can snap a picture of something, and then it's instantly saved as a note. And as soon as you've taken that photograph, saved it as a note, you can access it from any device you have Google Keep logged into. In addition to that, we have our tick lists, and we can simply add another. One more thing to note is on mobile, seeing as we're dealing with a much smaller screen, in the top right corner you can change the type of view from a list to a grid. So now I have it set to a grid view, but I can switch that to list view, and then simply scrolling down will show me all my notes. And that's the mobile app for Google Keep. Now, all these programs have their strengths, and I really love using them. But what I really like best is the integration between all three. Now, this webinar, Productivity and Letting G Suite Do the Heavy Lifting, is just the beginning. We have many more webinars coming, and we hope to see you in every single one of those. Now, if you have any follow-up questions about any of the three applications we've discussed today, or maybe something that you've seen during this webinar and it wasn't 100% clear, well, make sure that you jump into the chat right now. Now, the chat is open. I myself am in that chat as well, answering questions. We have a number of trainers and other members of the Apps Events team all answering questions in the chat. I've really enjoyed presenting about these three apps today. That's it for this webinar, and I hope that